What story have you been telling yourself? That you're not good enough? That success is reserved for someone else? That no matter how hard you try, you'll never rise above your circumstances? These are the chains that hold you back, not made of metal, but of words, fear and hesitation. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born hesitating, questioning, or shrinking in the face of opportunity. You learn it from the voices that told you to be realistic, from the past failures that made you afraid to try again, from the rejection that left you questioning your worth. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is nothing more than a script that plays in your mind over and over, convincing you that your limitations are real. And if you let it, it will run your entire life. So ask yourself, how much longer will you let this lie control you? How many opportunities will you watch pass by because you believed in your own limitations more than your potential? It's time to break the cycle. Right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. Stay locked in the same patterns, feeding the same doubts, or take back what has always been yours, your power. Power is not something given to you. It's not handed out to a lucky few. It's something you claim. It's something you step into, and it starts with one decision: no longer accepting the lies you've been telling yourself. The past does not define you. The opinions of others do not shape you. What shapes you is what you decide to do next. This is not just another speech. This is your wake-up call. If you've been waiting for a sign, for permission, for the perfect moment, this is it. Because the moment you decide to change, your life begins to shift. So ask yourself, are you ready? Ready to stop waiting? Ready to stop doubting? Ready to step into the person you were always meant to be? Because the journey starts now. This is not about quick fixes or empty motivation. This is about transformation, the kind that lasts, the kind that changes everything. In the next few moments, you will uncover the silent traps that have held you back for years. You will recognize the hidden beliefs that have shaped your reality. And most importantly, you will learn how to break free. This is a journey of discovery, of rewiring the way you see yourself, of stepping into a version of you that has always existed but has been buried beneath fear and hesitation. Imagine this as a road you've never traveled before, one that leads to confidence, to clarity, to freedom. It won't be easy, growth never is, but on the other side of this journey is something priceless: the ability to live without fear, to walk with certainty, and to build a life that reflects your true potential. So as we move forward, stay open, stay willing, let yourself be challenged. Because what you're about to hear is not just words, it's the beginning of a shift that will change your life. What if I told you that the biggest thing holding you back isn't the world, your circumstances, or even your past? It's something much closer. Something invisible yet powerful enough to keep you stuck for years. Your mind is filled with hidden traps, beliefs you don't even realize are shaping your life. Beliefs that whisper you're not good enough. Beliefs that tell you this is just the way things are. But here's the truth. Those thoughts, they are nothing more than echoes of a past that no longer exists. A past where someone told you that you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or capable enough. And because you heard it enough times, you believed it. Think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself before even trying? How many dreams have you buried because you convinced yourself they weren't possible? That's not reality. That's conditioning. That's years of programming keeping you locked inside a cage that doesn't even exist. And until you see these traps for what they are, until you realize that they are illusions, not truths, you will keep living the same life, running the same cycle, telling yourself the same tired excuses. It's time to wake up, to question every lie you've accepted as fact. Because once you expose the trap, you take away its power. And when you take away its power, you take back control. If self-doubt is the lock on your potential, then guilt is the chain that keeps it sealed. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're carrying it. Guilt is a weapon, a quiet, crushing weight that convinces you that you owe everyone an explanation, an apology, a smaller version of yourself. It comes from the voices that made you feel selfish for wanting more, the people who shamed you for changing, the past mistakes that you can't seem to let go of. And so you shrink, you hesitate, you stay in situations that no longer serve you because you're too afraid to disappoint someone else. But here's what no one tells you. The guilt you carry is not always yours. Ask yourself, who benefits from your guilt? The audience too. Who wins when you stay stuck? Who feels more comfortable when you make yourself small? Guilt, when left unchecked, becomes a prison, a silent force that keeps you chained to the expectations of others instead of living the life you were meant for. So it's time to make a choice. Will you keep carrying this weight? Will you keep apologizing for who you are, for what you want, for the space you take up in this world? Or will you finally let it go? Because the only person you owe anything to, the only person you need to answer to, is the one staring back at you in the mirror. You've spent years believing you had no choice, that life happened to you, that your circumstances dictated your future, that your past mistakes defined you. But that was never the truth. The truth is, every moment, every decision, every thought is a choice. And right now, you have a choice to make. Will you keep blaming your past? Will you keep letting guilt weigh you down? Or will you own your truth, fully, unapologetically, and without hesitation? Owning your truth means recognizing that you are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not the limits that others have placed on you. Owning your truth means standing tall, even when people don't understand you. It means making choices that serve your highest self, not the expectations of those who want to keep you small. It means taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Because the moment you take ownership, you take back your power. And when you take back your power, everything changes. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop hiding? Are you ready to stop apologizing? Are you ready to step fully into the life that was meant for you? Because the moment you say yes, the moment you stop waiting for permission, everything begins to shift. You've been taught to fear guilt, to avoid it, to bury it so deep that you don't have to face the uncomfortable truth it holds. But what if guilt wasn't the enemy? What if it was the lesson you've been ignoring? Guilt is like fire. It can destroy or it can refine. It can burn you down, leaving you stuck in regret, or it can shape you into something stronger, something wiser. But only if you use it correctly. Think about the moments in your life where guilt has held you back. Was it because of something you did or something you thought you did? So much of the guilt we carry isn't even real. It's a shadow of expectations placed upon us by others. But guilt, when looked at through the right lens, is not a weight, it's a signpost. It's telling you where growth is needed, where healing must happen. So instead of running from it, lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this guilt trying to teach me? Is it telling you to make amends, or is it showing you where you've been manipulated into carrying blame that was never yours? Because when you stop fearing guilt and start learning from it, it no longer controls you. It no longer weighs you down. Instead, it sharpens you. It makes you unshakable. It transforms you into the person you were always meant to be. Your mind is a machine, one that runs on the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same patterns, over and over again. And unless you take control of it, it will continue feeding you the same lies that have kept you small. What if I told you that every doubt, every fear, every hesitation you've ever had was nothing more than a programmed response, a script you've been following without question? The good news? Scripts can be rewritten. Right now your mind is operating on years of conditioning, but you have the power to change it, to rewire your thoughts, to challenge every limiting belief that has held you back. The first step? Awareness. Pay attention to the words you tell yourself. Catch the moments where you say, I can't, I'm not good enough, this will never work, and replace them, not with empty positivity, but with truth. Because the truth is, you are capable, you are strong, you are more than your past, more than your mistakes, more than your fear. And when you start feeding your mind with that truth, when you make it your new reality, everything shifts. Because belief is not just a thought, it's the foundation of your future. You want change? It starts in your mind. But real change isn't complicated. It's about doing the small things that make a big difference. Here's how you begin. Catch the lie. Every time a limiting belief enters your mind, pause. Recognize it. See it for what it is. Just a thought, not a fact. Challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true? Is it really true that you're not good enough? that you'll never succeed, that your past defines you? Because when you question your beliefs, you weaken their hold on you. Replace it. Don't just remove negative thoughts, replace them. Feed your mind a new script, not fake confidence, but real truth. Truth that says, I am growing, I am learning, I am capable. Take action. Your mind will believe what you do, not just what you say. Start taking small steps in the direction of your future, because action is the proof your mind needs to believe in change. Your freedom doesn't come from waiting, it comes from deciding, from stepping forward, from choosing, moment by moment, to think differently. Because when your mind is free, your life will be too. Strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. People look at those who seem confident, who walk into a room with presence, who face challenges without breaking, and they assume they were just made that way. But that's not the truth. Strength is built through struggle, through moments of doubt where you choose to keep going, through failures that could have broken you, but instead they shaped you. Think of a tree standing in the middle of a storm. The winds push against it, bending it, threatening to snap its branches. But what happens? The roots grow deeper, the trunk grows stronger, it becomes unshakable, not because it avoided the storm, but because it endured it. And that's you. Every difficulty, every challenge, every painful moment in your life has been a storm trying to knock you down, and yet here you are. Still standing, still breathing, still capable of more. But strength is not just about surviving, it's about rising. It's about no longer letting fear, doubt, or the expectations of others dictate how you live your life. So ask yourself, are you ready to stand tall, to claim your space, to walk with the kind of confidence that comes not from pretending to be strong, but from knowing you already are? Because the moment you choose to rise, nothing can shake you. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but is it really possible for me? And the answer is simple, yes. Not because I say so, not because it sounds inspiring, but because there are people, just like you, who have stood exactly where you're standing right now and chose to change. Look at those who have risen from nothing, the ones who were told they would never make it, the ones who had every reason to give up, but didn't. They weren't special, they weren't lucky, they were just willing to fight for the life they knew they deserved. Think of the stories you've heard. The people who came from broken homes, who faced rejection after rejection, who were underestimated, dismissed, told they weren't enough, and yet they refused to accept it. That same fire, that same strength, it's in you too. It has always been in you. The only difference between them and you is that they made a choice. They decided to believe in themselves before anyone else did. And now it's your turn. Will you keep telling yourself the same story of limitation? Or will you rewrite it into one of power, one of resilience, one of undeniable transformation? Because the only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is the decision to begin. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself 1 year from now, 5 years from now. Who do you see? Do you see someone who is still stuck, still doubting, still waiting for the right moment? Or do you see someone who has finally stepped into their power? Because that future, it's not a fantasy, it's a possibility. Every single person who has ever transformed their life started in the exact place you are right now. The only difference is that they saw something greater for themselves and they refused to let fear hold them back from chasing it. But here's the thing about the life you were meant to live. It will not wait for you. It will not come knocking on your door, begging you to take it. You have to reach for it. You have to decide that you are worth the risk, worth the effort, worth the struggle it takes to get there. Because the life you dream of, the confidence, the success, the freedom, it's already yours. It's already waiting for you. But you have to step forward and claim it. So what will it be? Will you keep waiting for the right time, the right feeling, the right validation? Or will you take the first step now, knowing that every great transformation begins with a simple decision? Because your future is not written yet, and today you get to pick up the pen. Right now, there's a war happening inside you. On one side, there's your future, the life you want, the strength you fought for, the success you dream of, and on the other, your excuses. The reasons you keep giving yourself for why you can't start, why you can't change, why you can't move forward. And let's be honest, those excuses, they're convincing. They whisper in your ear, telling you it's too late, that you're not ready, that maybe next week, next year, someday, but not today. But here's the truth. Those excuses are the only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live. They are not real. They are not facts. They are stories you've been telling yourself for so long that you started believing them. And today you have a choice. You can keep feeding those excuses, letting them rob you of another day, another opportunity, another chance to become who you were meant to be, or you can stand up, you can call out the lie. You can decide, right here, right now, that your excuses will no longer be stronger than your future. So ask yourself, will you stay the same, or will you rise? Because the battle starts now, and the only way you lose is if you don't fight. If you want to change your life, you don't need more motivation. You don't need another speech, another book, another moment of inspiration that fades away by tomorrow. What you need is action. And action doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be a massive leap. It just has to be something, a step, no matter how small, that moves you forward. So here's where you start. Decide. Right now, make a decision that you will no longer live the same way, that your past does not define you, and your excuses will no longer control you. Change one habit, just one. It could be waking up earlier, reading for 10 minutes a day, speaking more positively about yourself. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that you start. Prove it to yourself. Every action you take is proof to your mind that change is happening. So don't just say you're different. Show yourself. Show yourself every day, in every decision, that you are becoming the person you were meant to be. Your story is not set in stone. It is not finished. And from this moment forward, every choice you make is a new sentence, a new chapter, a new beginning. So what will you write next? There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment where everything lines up, where fear disappears, where the road ahead is clear and easy. That's why you have to move now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, because ready is a lie. Ready is an illusion that keeps you stuck, waiting for a day that will never come. Your moment is here. Your moment is now. So take the first step. Make the first move. Prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fears, bigger than your doubts, and powerful enough to create the future you deserve. Because this moment, it will either be the day you look back on and say, that's where everything changed, or the day you let slip by, only to wonder what could have been. And the choice? That's yours.